You're listening to the We Are Libertarians Network. Learn more at wearelibertarians.com.
What if you wound up being a libertarian? Welcome to the Boss Hog of Liberty podcast. This is episode number 136 of Indiana's favorite podcast, East Central Indiana's favorite podcast. Are we all of Indiana's favorite podcast? We'll find out.
Don't know. The polling's not in.
I don't know. We're going to declare it. I'm Jeremiah Morrell. Today I'm joined by co-host Dakota Davis, producer Chris Guffey, and a couple others.
Today's episode features our very special guest, Mr. Mark Koger, who is the current city council president in Newcastle, Indiana. And then we also have...
He made it pretty clear in the Patreon. That's not what defines him.
Mr. President.
El Presidente.
Yeah. And then we also have Lisa Catron, who is running against Jeff Hancock for the Newcastle City Council. We're going to be talking to Lisa about why she's the person that you need to vote for. And we are also going to be talking to Mark about issues that the citizens of Newcastle has been facing and what the council thinks about those. As the president, he speaks for all of the council.
Oh, not really. This show is about our lives in rural Indiana. We're here to push your boundaries and make you think as individuals. Sometimes we'll provoke you. Other times we'll make you laugh. If not, we'll make ourselves laugh. But hopefully you'll always learn something new. We just wrapped up a really fun 25 minute Patreon segment for everybody that helps pay the bills around here. We do want to thank the super donors, the elite class of Patreon folks. Christy Avery of Fort Wayne, John Phillips of Andy Moore, Buick GMC and Fishers, who was a hero to Dakota this week. Check the Patreon. And our favorite former prosecutor in Hawaii, Craig DaCosta. It's quite the crowd.
Woo!
Dakota, your beard is blending in with your shirt. With the dark lighting, I look at it on the screen, and you're just looking, you're almost missing. You don't even show up on camera tonight.
Well,
what are you trying to do?
Trying to disappear?
Are you going full Johnny Cash? Are you in mourning?
I'm dressed like a flunky. Yeah. Well, you wonder why I always dress in black. Johnny Cash.
Nice. He's trying. He's trying. All right, Lisa, what do you have for singing?
Oh. No singing.
Not much. Well, if you don't want to dress...
that song stuck in my head all night now.
If you don't want to dress all in black...
bright colors on my back.
You've got...
And white is my appearance.
What, really? Or is this...
I'm going to have it in my head now.
We're paying these guys by the hour to be here, and you're serenading them with bad Johnny Cash.
Yep, sorry.
Bad versions of Johnny Cash. All right, so did you order your new shirt? Your new hoodie? You were talking about needing... you had a stain on the old one.
I didn't order a new hoodie. Well, I ordered a new hoodie, but I didn't order that hoodie. It's a very long story that maybe it'll be on the Patreon side next week. Anyway, what he's talking about are the T-Chip stores that we have. If you want some Boss Hog of Liberty merchandise, you can find those at tchip.com/BHOL1, 2, or 3. Those are the places where you get our sweet, sweet merchandise made out of 100% pure alpaca fur from Wayne County, Indiana.
And the logos are stitched on by hand by Cannon Koger, I believe, right?
Yep.
Young Cannon Koger.
Knox does a good job of using his little tiny fingers to be able to tie the knots on the stitching needles. Yep.
Yeah. They're well done. I did have a little complaint that they got it off center on mine, but for a 3-year-old, it's really not the worst work I've seen. So I can't complain too much.
Yeah, well, that's the way the cookie crumbles sometimes, I guess. And it's not off center. It's supposed to be over your left chest.
Do we have coffee cups available again? I heard a report that one of our listeners had a tragic cracking, breaking, shattering of a coffee cup that they had purchased. So they were asking, can I buy another one? And I said, I just don't know. We'll have to check with Dakota.
If the Red Bubble store is still online,
it still exists.
If I'm not sure if it is or not, because we just went to selling apparel, because that is what sold the best. Then I don't know. We'll have to check.
All right. If not, maybe we'll put a special something out there somewhere. Does T-Chip offer cups, mugs,
No, they're
accessories?
strictly apparel.
They're just apparel.
Yeah.
Oh man, tough. That's tough running a podcast empire. You got to do your own video production. You got to edit. You got to sell merchandise.
Listen,
There's so much that goes into it.
The print-on-demand stores that you can get merchandise through, because obviously we don't have a big enough demand for apparel and merchandise to buy it in bulk, so we do it on demand through the third-party sellers. T-Chip is just the best for profit margins. It's
all about our money, is what you're saying.
It's the difference between a $4 profit and a $3. So...
Oh man, they're just going to steal it from you in income taxes anyway. That's what the county did to me last week. Anyway, let's talk to some of these folks.
Let's do it.
Lisa Catron is here.
That's right. I have us starting with Lisa. Well, I won't get into the backstory. I have us starting with Lisa because you're a candidate, and
Okay.
we want to introduce you first because after that 45,
Because ladies first.
Yeah. Well, after that 45-minute mark, people start tuning out. I don't know. So we'll get your introduction out of the way.
Did you say after
very
45
first.
minutes of Mark, they're going to start tuning out? Is that what you're trying to say?
Of anyone. Maybe me. I don't know. We'll find out when the baby's born. I have to take a couple weeks off. Maybe after that, like the ratings shoot up and we're like, oh, it was me the whole time.
This is episode 136 together. We are, I think we're going to go on hiatus. We can't have a breakup. You can't break up the Beatles. Yoko.
Not you, Lisa. Lisa, tell us a little bit about yourself. We want to start out with your background, education that you have, all those things.
All right. I see where you have. I'm a graduate of Newcastle High. I thought that was funny last night.
Most of the city council candidates mentioned that they were all graduates
And they all
of our
lived
high
here
school.
for 60 years.
Yes. So
50-something
depending
years.
upon when you graduated, they are very specific about which version of the high school they graduated
I know. And I think that's so funny that the name, remember when the name changed this last time? I mean, everybody was so upset with it, but
Yeah.
when you look back, the name has changed several times.
What's
It's
the
sad,
history? Help me,
but-
as a guy that moved here as a youth and didn't attend Newcastle schools.
Well,
What happened?
Was it Newcastle? I don't know.
Walter P. Chrysler.
Walter B. I don't know why it changed that time, but Newcastle Chrysler High is where I graduated, and I think it's because Chrysler's not
Chrysler's
here
no longer
anymore.
in
I
the
mean, I think
community?
that was the big thing. I'm not exactly sure, but
It was a more of like, I think it was a thing of like, let's stop living in the past. Chrysler's been gone for years. Let's keep our eyes on the future here. We're just Newcastle High School.
yeah.
Listen, it's a bad idea to name yourself after a company because companies come and go, but usually schools stick around for longer.
But I mean, why couldn't you could the school take $400,000 and be Google High, and everybody get a
I don't know.
Chromebook?
I think so.
It makes me
Maybe
wonder
they
why
should have
it
reached out to
changed.
Chrysler.
I wonder why it changed first.
I
The
don't
first
know.
time, Walter P. I don't even know who that was.
I assume it was the founder of Chrysler.
Chrysler donated the land.
Yeah, for the school originally.
Is that what? Okay.
That's how it originally started.
So then they changed it. I just thought that was kind of funny though. But yeah, I moved up here in 91. I was a junior. So I haven't lived here my whole
Oh,
life.
where did you live before?
Texas.
Texas.
Yep.
With the Rangers.
Yes, with the Rangers.
Or the Astros.
No. Rangers. Let's go with the Rangers. No, yeah, so I lived in Texas and I moved up here. Of course, I hated the snow. I hated everything. But then I got married, had kids, raised my kids here. I've been here pretty much my whole life since 91. Graduated from here. We did move off to Miami. That was fun. And I thought that I would never want, in fact, I told Tony, because we just like closed up the house when he got, he went down there in 2015 to Miami. We closed up the house. I went down in 2016. I'm like,
He went down for school.
He went down for school. Yeah. So he was always planning on coming back. He got accepted to Florida International down there. So he went down there and I was like, I'm probably not going to come back. We're going to have to live here. He's like, well, we're going to have to commute back and forth then because I'm going back to Newcastle. I'm like, no, this weather, I love the beaches, the weather. But after a year, I realized that, I really miss Newcastle. I miss the cornfields. I love the beaches, but I missed like seriously going to places and knowing people and
The small town feel.
I mean, yeah, the small town feel. Miami was not that at all. Even though I got to know people and I belonged to the Libertarian.
You were involved with
The Libertarians
Party
down there,
Dade,
Libertarian
Dade
Party.
County or
Miami-Dade County. Of course, as soon as they knew I was a treasurer from here, they put me down as the treasurer there.
You got a new gig. What's that chair over there has had problems. Last week, Mike Guffey was there and he ran his chair up through the desk, and now the mic flag is going limp. It keeps sliding on down.
So I was happy to get back to Newcastle. Tony didn't have to drag me. I was actually happy for that. And I love Newcastle. I think while I was gone, there was a lot of stuff that happened. I mean, it grew and it's still growing now.
Yeah, we've seen, unemployment's way down, jobs, it was something we heard last night. There was a candidate forum last evening that we talked about a little bit in the Patreon. That unemployment is way down. Houses are selling fast. Home values have gone up. Newcastle is in the best position it's been probably in my adult life. I graduated high school in 2001, and that was the time of a lot of the heavy manufacturing and Chrysler winding down, and now you see it's as strong as it's been.
It's
a lot of
great.
investment.
Yeah, it's great, and we have a lot of jobs out there, and people could work a lot more, but.
So what's your day job now? What are you doing?
Right now I'm a flight attendant. I've always been in the medical field. When we were in Miami, I decided I had a hard time getting a job in Miami because, I'm not bilingual and they want your first language to be Spanish there. So it was really hard, but I did get on in a surgery center there. So I've always been in the medical field. And I decided I'm going to try something different. I need some free flight benefits. So I become a flight attendant. So that's what I'm doing right now. I've went on and I've got my bachelor's and I'm in the process of applying for physician assistant school. Hopefully next year I'll start that. So going to go back to the medical field.
But you had some fun as a flight attendant. I keep trying to talk Sarah into it because I see you and Tony just get on a plane and go to Europe or Australia or whatever.
We've been to Australia, Belize. Been a lot of different places, and a lot of places in the U.S. We'd probably do more if I could talk. If Tony wasn't gone during the week. I've always like, okay, you got a 4-day weekend, baby. Let's go to Paris. He's like, no, I haven't been home all week.
Let's go to Paris. It'll cost us $20.
I know. I'm going to miss that. I miss the medical field though. I'm ready to get back into that.
Do you have to fly in the rumble seat when you
No.
It was a joke.
Yeah, I know.
You have to jump in for emergency drink purchases.
Yeah, just jump in.
Do you ever get irritated by the flight attendants that are on there? You're like, oh, you're doing it wrong.
No,
Oh,
no.
I would.
Do you
Sometimes.
hide the fact that you're a flight attendant? You just don't.
Yes, I do because I do like to drink.
Person.
So when I get first class and you get the free drinks, then I make sure my badge is not around me when I'm flying for the fun of it. And I have had them cut me off after like 2 drinks, and I'm like, "Are you serious?" I'm like,
You're doing this all wrong.
I would never cut anybody off. I'm like, now you're cut. I had 2 mimosas, and you're going to cut me off? Really?
It's a 4-hour flight.
Exactly. I'm like, I know how to drink.
We're only 15 minutes in.
It's not like Indy to Chicago.
We haven't even took off yet. That was my pre-drinks. But
what is the longest flight you've done? Like
as working?
Working, yeah. It's all domestic, or
it's all domestic. Well, I take that back. We do go to Canada and we go to some of the Caribbean islands. But the longest flight I would do would probably be from around New York to Bahamas, one of the Bahama places.
Okay.
So 4 hours.
Yeah.
That's probably the longest I would do.
Sarah and I flew directly from here to Oakland, and that was the longest flight I'd ever been
How long
on.
was that?
4.5 hours. It was far.
When we did
We
Australia.
flew to water. I mean, it was the end of the continent. It was,
one to the
it was
other.
all the way over there.
When we did to Australia, that was crazy long. That was the longest flight I have ever been on.
12 hours?
It was 15. And we had to go to Los Angeles first.
Yeah.
When Danny my brother went to Sydney. Qantas is the airline that
we
flies.
went to Sydney.
And he flew from Dallas. And at the time, that was the longest commercial flight in existence. And it was 17 hours. He flew nonstop from Dallas all the way to Sydney.
Did he get first class? Was he with work?
He was with work. He did not have first class, but he found out that on an international flight, drinking is free.
Yes.
He found that out at the end of the flight of that flight when he had like 2 and they're like, there's no bill. So then on the flight back home, I think he had figured it out. But on the way back home, they only flew to Los Angeles, so they didn't have to go quite as far as
my gosh.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, that's the first thing
flight.
I did when we went to, because we went to Sydney, and when we started, it was in the evening, so it was going to be an all-night flight. And so I'm like, I need 2 red wines, please, right away, and then 2 red wines and 2 red wines.
So
We didn't get first class either that way.
We talked about you being very active in Miami-Dade County for the Libertarian Party there. Whenever you moved back to Newcastle, you immediately got more active in the Libertarian Party of Henry County, taking over the outreach, community outreach chairperson position. That was a newly established position just for you.
Just for me.
Yeah, because you have great ideas for like
the
parade
director of
things.
fun.
Because I love to make people do parades.
Well, your first year back, we won the Memorial Parade's best float. So
Yes, we did.
It was
Yeah.
a good time. But how else have you tried to make yourself more involved in the community, especially as running for office?
Since I have been back, I have not been involved in the community as much as I want to. Before I left, I was involved with the farmers market some. I was involved with Newcastle Main Street. And I'm ready to get back into that. I came back and just kind of worked with the Libertarian Party, and then you kind of do it. Yeah. So I'm ready to get back into all that, though. I enjoy being. And
for those that are in the area, it's the first time that your name has appeared on a ballot like this, but you have run a few times as well.
Yes, I've ran. Yeah, that's funny. So when I ran the first time, it was under Goldsberry. And then I went back to my maiden name, and it was under Crosby. And then I got married to Tony.
You're killing the name ID, Lisa.
And I was going to put all those on my sign, but that got really expensive.
But then you realized they're going to charge you by the letter, and you said, no, we're just going to stick with with Catron.
So I'm just going to stick with Catron from now on.
It's permanent.
It's permanent.
It's permanent. But you have your signs. I've seen, there's a few of them around town.
Yeah.
They are bright pink. What's up with the pink colors?
I love pink and I love flamingos, and anybody that knows me knows that that's my thing. That's how people know me. So I'm like, I'm not going to say boring, because Chris did his signs in blue and yellow, but
blue.
I want to stick
boring
out.
Chris Guffey. You're not supposed to attack members of your own party.
I know.
You're starting to sound like this guy over here.
No. He's just over there sitting quiet.
In Chris's defense, he didn't pick out his colors.
No, actually, that
was his
great.
poor design team.
My wonderful design team.
I know. I think everybody was like, I think my design team was like, really? Pink? Really? You're going to make me work with that?
I threw some Newcastle green in there.
Some green in there. No, I want them to stick out. I want people to go by there like, oh, that must be Lisa. They're pink. If I could have made them shaped like a flamingo, I would have done that.
Probably doable too. In the chat, they're asking, is Lisa promising flamingos for everybody, or is this you have to?
Oh wow!
To buy your own flamingos.
You have to buy your own flamingos.
But you're going to allow flamingos in the city limits.
I am. I'm going to allow you to put flamingos in your yard.
Let's just get chickens first.
All poultry.
Flamingos are so much better, though. Come on.
Just open the door to all poultry. I think that's a reasonable start to just a little bit more freedom.
So Dakota still talks about chickens all the time?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Anytime that we can try to defeat the tyranny of Newcastle city government, we will try.
Have you got your chickens yet? Now that you're in...
He can't say it publicly.
I have to get... Yeah, I can't. Well, I don't have the acreage that the county requires.
The county says you have to have 5 acres.
Country.
The county says you have to have 5 acres for such an operation.
Yeah.
In theory.
Yeah.
Can you imagine how many criminals are out
Darren
there in the country?
Jacobs walks past my house every day. I can't afford the fines.
For some reason, I thought you lived out in the country and you had a lot of acres.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it could be horrible.
I have a baby on the way. I can't get kidnapped from a stranger with a gun that shows up at my house because I have chickens.
Because you have some chickens.
Because you're trying to provide for your family. All right. Well, we'll keep the conversation going, and we'll keep it very loose and have some fun. But we'll work Mark into the conversation here. Mark Koger, you are. We heard from you last night at the candidate forum. You're in your second decade on the city council,
Yeah, starting second. Yep.
but you're not a politician.
Nope. I work for a living. Politicians don't work.
What's the day job? What do you do?
I'm working at Anderson Community Hospital,
Okay.
North Side. Been over there since May. Really enjoy it.
So you no jobs for you in Henry County. You got to travel. You got to go all the way to Madison County.
It worked out well.
All right.
So just like Lisa, you're in the medical. You've always been in the medical field,
No,
or
I've been in the pharmacy technician for 25 years. And
25
I was
years.
in law enforcement before that.
Oh, okay. Well, that makes sense. Your son is a Newcastle police officer, correct?
Yep, my son, he's been on 7 years, the police department here. He's married to Tricia, and they have a son, Larkin, who's 19 months now.
And she also does my wife's hair.
Awesome, yeah.
So
Plug for Tangle's hair, yes.
So the Larkin name, is that baseball related?
It's baseball related. Chase was born a Reds fan, of course. So, his favorite.
Well, that's
player,
as long as I've known you. Your Facebook profile picture has been.
Yeah, his favorite player is Barry Larkin, and he named it after Barry. Yep.
All right. So there was a time 2 years ago where we joked on the show that I was going to run against you for city council.
Thank God you moved out of town, or this could be awkward.
Could be really awkward.
It's never awkward.
It could be me
Family
sitting
on
in this
family.
chair. It could be me sitting in this chair, and it would be it would be a sign of the times.
But now you got to run against Darren Jacobs.
I'm not in Spiceland city or town limits either, so
okay.
that's out of the picture. The best shot I have is against Susan Hoon.
Okay.
You're in Susan's county council district.
Yeah, I think. Pretty sure.
Are you in the Southern
Maybe.
or Central Commissioners District?
I-
Each of those are up for election as well
That's true.
next year.
I got a baby coming next year. I'm not running for election. We're gonna get that out of the way right now.
That's coming from higher up.
I'm the highest it goes here in
I've
Henry
seen
County.
people with babies run for election before. It's been done. I'm pretty sure Evan Bayh was governor with 2 infants. You can probably struggle through as in a county seat.
Evan Bayh had much larger backing than what I would have.
He had people there.
I'm the guy that recruits people in Henry County to run for office. And I can tell you that there's not going to be the recruitment happening for me.
You're from that Koger power family in Henry County politics.
Right.
Yeah.
They don't lose elections.
Do I hyphenate my name just for the name ID?
Dakota Koger Davis.
Is
Got a good ring.
Would
What
I
color-
be disgracing my family?
What color were your signs, Mark? If he
green
wants to copy your stuff, like
Green and white.
green and white.
Right.
So you're like every other Newcastle candidate. It's like, I got to go green and white.
Nope. I was the only one.
You're the only one that did that?
The only one.
I was say I haven't seen that many green and white.
Yeah.
In the
Yeah.
in the county election last year, everybody in my race, everybody but me was green and white. Kennan's
that's
signs were
true.
green and white. Pat Cronk's signs were green and white. Mine were yellow and yellow.
We thought
and
we
blue.
were really giving you an edge by being different. We see how that turned out.
Yeah, apparently I needed to do the green and white. That was the difference right there. Damn. Wish I had known.
If Chris doesn't win and Lisa doesn't win, then it's time that you
Green and white,
it's
baby.
time-
Green and white from now on.
It's time that we find a different designer. I think.
I
That's the
designed my
difference.
own. So
Yeah. Well, I'm the one that did all three of these.
also it comes back to you.
Yeah, that's where that joke came from. So no, I'm not running against you, Mark. There's not even an election in your ward this
No.
year.
Just marking the empty chair.
It is. But competition's great. I mean, that's what it's about. And Daryl mentioned it last night. Just get out and vote. No matter what. I mean,
Even if you don't have a race, just go. Just make them turn you away at the polls.
Well, and Rex and I talked about it. I think Rex brought it up is if we don't vote for ourselves, do we still get in? So, that's kind of been the running joke with us is, there's going to be nobody vote for the mayor or at large. Or
It is a very different cycle this time where the only places that have elections are those that have a precinct where, so 60% of the city is voting and has something to vote for.
Right.
And it's going to be the smallest ballot you will ever encounter. You go into you have nothing to vote for. You have
nothing.
no election. You don't need to go.
They sent cards out and told us that.
Yeah. But if you show up and you get your ballot, it's going to say, hey, pick a party. You're going to say if it's Chris's race with
Jerry.
It's going to say, do you want to vote all Democrat or all Libertarian? And then you go to the next page and it says, hey, do you want to vote for Jerry or do you want to vote for Chris?
Actually,
And the election is over. That's it.
actually, if you skip past that straight ticket, you still get the error screen.
Yeah, you say, oh, you forgot to vote straight ticket, and then you have,
Even
so
with
you
all
get-
the
get
help
told-
that we raised last year.
you get told you made a mistake,
Right.
and then you have, and that's it.
Guess we'll have
So-
to do it again this year.
Absolutely, we should.
You know,
You're right.
that's
So it's just
be
gonna
expecting another angry letter.
Now, I have a question that Jeremiah, I always go to you with my questions. So, because you know everything. What if somebody wanted to write in? Like, why didn't they put all the other things on?
Write-in ballots are no longer. You can write it in, but it doesn't count
They won't count it
after
Oh, okay.
June 31st.
unless you
June
have
31st.
an
Okay.
official declared write-in candidate. You can write whatever the hell you want to in there, and it's just going to be an undervote.
It's not- okay.
It's not going to go anywhere.
That makes
Lisa,
sense.
we asked the same thing.
All
Yep.
right.
Great question.
Yeah, that's just the way Indiana election law works.
Somebody asked me
Should
that
be a
the other
NOTA
day,
choice on there.
and I was like, I don't know why.
I submitted a letter to the editor in the Courier Times last year.
The state of Nevada,
Notice
every
huge.
election in Nevada has none of the above, NOTA, as an option. So you would never have an election canceled or not happen. So it would be, we want Mark again, or no, we want the empty chair. No, nobody else. None of these people. Try again. That's literally.
So you have to vote for yourself.
So you have to vote for yourself,
Right.
or not. You are competitively running and reapplying and readvocating for the spot.
Right.
Well, he would still get it because it would go to the person that have it. But if, say, there was 100 votes cast and 75 of them were for NOTA and Mark only got 25, he would probably start to realize that he's not doing a great job and that people would rather an empty chair than the current person sitting in there.
So, do you think that would make somebody change the way they were acting?
I would think so.
I would
They
hope
did
so.
that?
Good point.
If not, then hopefully it would make someone inspired to run against that person. In the next cycle.
Yeah.
Mark, what do you think is the reason for the limited? I know last night there were actually folks that were saying, "Hey, I'm really happy we have this many candidates running." But what do you attribute the lack of interest in running? Is it because the work is hard because you actually have to work when you get elected, or running for office is intimidating? What do you think is keeping people from throwing their name in their hat?
I think people just don't want to get involved in
They had the
politics. And again, we're not politicians. I'm your neighbor. I'm going to help you. You call me with a problem. I hope to know the right person to call to try to get your situation taken care of. And that's what a city council person is supposed to do for their neighbor. Yes, we're supposed to watch the budget and watch the money of the city, but it's the little things. Hey, we need a stop sign down here at H Avenue and Roosevelt. Okay, let's see. Let's take a look at it.
Speeders.
Yeah, speeders.
Yeah.
I mean, there's numerous things, but a lot of people don't want to be involved in that. I mean, hey, somebody else will take care of it. It's usually somebody runs for an office because of a situation that's happened to them, a bad situation that's happened to them, and they're saying, well, I can do a better job.
I'm mad.
I'm going to run for office. And you know what? That's happened before. I've worked with people in city council that they ran for office because they were upset and they won. And they won that seat and they made a difference and they got out. They made their difference and they left. And I think that's why people get involved, especially in local politics. You go to the state level, it's a progression. You get elected at the city level, you go to the state level, who would want to go to national level, but
Right. Speaking of that and getting people involved, why did you decide to run, Lisa?
Well, I didn't have something bad happen to me that I wanted to run. I tried to say that last night, the reason I was running, but it didn't come out right because I was so nervous. But I think that I like to think that people didn't show up to run against the other people because they're mostly happy. I mean, sure, people gripe, you hear gripes. I mean, there's things aren't perfect. We know that, but then nothing's going to be perfect. And I like to think that people are mostly happy because our city is growing. So it's going pretty good right now, but it's still a process. For me, I want to run because I want to be part of that growth. And I want to give a different opportunity for different people to hear about this growth. That's what I was saying about Facebook last night.
You said you were plugged in with different communities last night.
I wasn't saying so much about my Facebook, but and I'm not like the youngest candidate, obviously Chris is, but
and Councilman Dickin is right in there too.
Councilman Dickin, but everybody else has been on here for a while, and they run in certain circles. Everybody runs in their own little circles, deals with their own people, and I think if I came in, then I'm going to deal with a different set of people, a different group of people. They can find out more what's going on in the city. They're going to know more because I'm going to be putting it out in a different, and then maybe in 4 years they'll want to run for something too, because they're going to be more involved because I deal with them every day. So that's why I want to run. And I also, obviously everybody wants to run to think that they can make it better. And I want to try to make it better too.
Good answer.
Mark, what happened with you? You did you get mad about an issue, or what was your motivation?
Louise Pierce was the ward council person in Ward 5, and she passed away in 2008. And I'd always thought, hey, I'd like to get involved in local politics. I'd never really had a taste of it. My dad was on a township advisory board for Henry Township when Jack Reno was the township trustee. I saw a little bit of that. Obviously not politics, but a little bit. But saw how the township helped people. And so I decided, hey, I'll put my name in the hat. And I did. And I was picked out of 3 candidates, or 3 people that put in for it, and served the 18 months of her term, and then ran for election and won. And since then.
Is this the first time without having to put signs out and run, or has it been competitive other times?
This is my second time I haven't. Yes.
Okay. So it sounds like from both of you, it's community service. Is that, the main focus for you is wanting to be involved and serve the community?
Yeah. Yep. Definitely community service. And then once I get in, I'm going to go to Mark and see how he scares everybody in his ward. Not run against him.
It's not a tactic.
You just go around as the enforcer.
It is not.
It's because people, I like to think of the positive way. It's because people are happy with what you're doing.
Well, thank you.
They're happy with that. Not because people don't want to be involved, but because they're happy. Think of it the positive way.
Yeah. And it was very interesting where the primary, there was no primary this time.
Yeah.
It's a very, very unique era right now in politics, in local politics. As I remember 4 years ago, it was very, the Ward 4 race, I think there were probably 6 people running for that seat. So it's very interesting to look at it from a distance.
I only wanted to run so that we could get chickens.
Well,
great platform.
Let's transition into some of the issues. We've talked about that one on this show for years and years. So let's hear from Mark and Lisa and you guys are, for those that are just tuning in, you're in separate races. Mark is the Ward 5 council person, and then Lisa, you're running as Ward 2?
Ward 2.
Running in Ward 2. Jeff Hancock he had another conflict this evening, but he'll be in the race with you. Right. So your names will appear on that ballot. But City of Indianapolis has poultry or chickens for residential use. Is that a possibility for Mark in your next term? And Lisa, if you were elected, is that a possibility that you could change the city ordinance and allow that sort of a thing?
Oh yeah, I think we need urban chickens.
I imagine you probably saw it in Florida.
Oh yeah, all downtown Miami, there's chickens just running around. I don't think they're going to care if you keep chickens. Yeah, we need urban chickens. People need their pets. Emotional support.
Emotional support.
But all about their emotional support.
You can have them just for eggs as well, right?
No, that's not my biggest concern. but I mean that.
Just a little sliver of freedom.
Yeah, I mean, if I can have flamingos, they can have chickens.
All right.
Yeah.
Mark, can we look forward to chickens in 2020?
No.
What's the problem, man? What's the deal? Was there a chicken problem?
In all honesty, it's
or the plague, the rats that come in, then we get the plague.
If you could pick and choose who has the chickens, it would be awesome. But then you're going to have 10 citizens across the city who have 15 roosters and 1 chicken. and they're going to wake everybody up.
Maybe you could limit.
So you say, okay,
But
we'll allow up to 3 hens and 0 roosters.
okay, who's going to?
I'll help you write the ordinance.
Who's going to police that?
I don't know, the guys that have the badge.
The guys that police no chickens already.
You know,
whenever a neighbor makes a complaint,
It's I see both sides. I honestly do.
What if we tried it? Or we ban all birds. Or we ban all birds. You can't have your parakeet
This is coming from a
anymore.
libertarian. Let's try it. Remember,
Let's
if you
try
put
it.
something on the books, they never come off, right?
Well, I mean, let's try it. You
Well,
guys
I-
can always listen. We tried
That's
prohibition, and that didn't work.
that's what we're hoping for.
Okay.
I think there would have to definitely be a limit on the chickens. I mean, you couldn't have a farm.
It's negotiable.
But, you
Right now,
know,
we're at 0 chickens. Maybe you could have 3. If you had 3 chickens, that's 3 eggs a day.
It
That's
has been brought
18.
up.
Yeah, you can
Yeah.
have. You could
You don't
feed.
even need them for the eggs. People want them for the pets. There's Allison, Tim's wife. Can't think of her name.
Allison McGuire.
Yes, McGuire.
In
Sorry,
Indianapolis.
Allison. Couldn't think of your last name real quick. You know, I've heard her talk about that there's urban chickens and she does the pet sitting business and she has that. She goes to people's house to take care of them during the day, just
in
like you would
Indianapolis.
dogs.
Jobs.
Yeah.
Jobs.
Dogs.
There are
it's
jobs for people
Yeah,
to
I was going
look
to say,
at.
just like you do dogs and cats, she goes and takes care of the chickens. It's jobs.
They even allow chickens.
What
in
if
Los
somebody
Angeles.
has a cockatoo that looks a lot like a Buff Orpington, but it
That a chicken?
identifies as a cockatoo? What would we
It
do?
identified.
What would we
Sounds like a
You just
lawsuit
started-
waiting to happen.
I'm just
started
asking.
something.
All right.
I'm just checking.
Let's get into the more serious issues. We're going to start off with the city finances and the budget. 2 weeks ago, we talked to Aaron Dickin and our good friend Rex Peckinpah, the at-large guy, about the 2020 budget, and that was killed. Whoops, there's a typo that says the last meeting. It was killed at the meeting prior to having them on 2 weeks ago. Lisa, since you're running for city council, we'll go ahead and ask you first. Do you think that it was a smart move for the council, the current council, to not pass the budget on?
Yes, when it came out that not every department had been involved in the talking and knowing what was going on, I think it was a smart decision to do it, regardless of whether it changed what was actually in the budget at that moment. Every department needs to be a part of that, because if they're not, then how can it be effective? You got to have everybody included. So I do think it was a good idea when they killed it the first time.
So, Mark, what was your specific reasoning? We've heard a lot about talking to departments. I'm curious if you had anything else that you could add on to it.
It wasn't really departments. It was more the 3 unions that didn't have signed contracts at the first and second readings. Aaron brought it up at the first reading, and it passed with Aaron voting against it, but it passed. And we dove into it a little bit more the next couple of weeks, and talked to the mayor and talked to the clerk treasurer and council. I can't speak for everybody. I just don't think we were satisfied with the answers we got during that 2 week span. So we didn't vote for it. We had our public hearing and nobody spoke at the public hearing. And then, a couple meetings happened, and we got some things resolved, and some money moved, to different departments, dedicated to other departments, and the contracts were signed with the 3 unions, and probably not what they wanted, but it's, with our budget being cut again by the state, it was just hard for the administration to give raises this year, or, but it's something that they're going to look for, for next year.
You said money was moved. You were able to move money back into some of those funds?
Aaron asked for a couple of things to be budgeted a little higher, and those were taken care of, and not astronomical amounts, but just moved to other lines in the budget. And, it was productive, and I think our voice was heard, and that's what we're there for.
That's the important thing.
So obviously it's, you're one seat on the council, so you don't get to decide everything. It's got to be a consensus to get there, and you've got an executive and the mayor as well. But how should this budget process work? This finishes next year's budget, and it's an annual budget process in the city, right? It's not like a state where they have a 2-year budget.
Right.
So should you now be looking at the budget a year from now, or does this start, how does this process supposed to work?
We'll start
what do you
in
think it should do?
January or February. The clerk treasurer will come to, the finance committee and tell us what, she and the mayor have talked about and what they perceive. And we try to estimate what the state's going to, they always cut us. They never give us. We're not Hamilton County. So, it's tough for a community our size and a class city our size to move forward without bringing upon user fees, things like that, to keep our city running for the necessities that we need.
Right.
Like I said last night, in the 11 years I've been on, we've been cut over $3 million, our budget. And put that in perspective with your household income of being cut and trying to live in the means that you live now.
What's the annual budget?
Oh, well,
it's $3 million, but it's a percentage of what the budget is.
It started around a little over 14 million when I came in, and it's down to around 11 or just under 11. But we include the city water and sewer into that too, which is around 4 million when you include all that in it. But the actual budget itself is around 11 million, just a little over.
Okay, so the portion that you guys deal with is 11 million, and then it's another $20 million for the water and sewer on top of that.
No, probably
or 20 million altogether.
23 or 4 million altogether. So we deal with all of it.
Okay,
but most of your sewer and water is already taken care of by projects that we're doing or bonds that we have out, like our long-term control plan and things like that we're having to pay for. We're $23 million in debt with our long-term control plan that your average citizen doesn't know. And that's court mandated.
Right.
That's something that
federally
nobody probably sitting at this table will ever see paid.
Yeah. Well, that's true.
Are the bonds
not even Guffey?
I don't know. I'm pretty young.
The bonds are they don't have a term that's going to pay them off at some point?
Sure they
or
do. But
you think they anticipate just refinancing?
But they're going to be renewed for something,
for the next project.
25 years down the road, there will be something else come about. But,
another emergency.
But we talked infrastructure last night a lot, about what aging in, and we're not unique to that. But it was court mandated. The mayor's working on trying to get infrastructure put in to draw business into the industrial park. So you got to have it before they will to come to your community. And the first thing they look at, and I learned this from the mayor, is your infrastructure. What kind of water do you have? What kind of sewer do you have? What kind of capacity do you have?
And that's a question you got last night, Lisa, was about where growth should be, right, in the community, where houses should come. So how do you look at that? If you're looking at the infrastructure that's there, what's the right answer? Is that the council's deal?
I was surprised at that question actually, because I off the top of my head, I'm like, how is that the council's deal? But then I know that the water, the infrastructure has to go. People need to build where they want to build. They can build wherever they want to build. I think we have a lot of empty lots that would be great for people to build on. But we do have to provide the correct water or electricity. But that's already there if we have the empty lots.
Yep.
So knowing a little bit about the budget and the process, Lisa, is there anything that you would like to be involved in the discussion if you're elected to make changes to certain areas to try to start discussions in places if they haven't been started yet?
I can't say that I would want to make changes right away because I just hearing about it, but actually doing the work and looking at it's going to be a whole different thing. I think bringing different people in, once again, bringing different people in is going to bring new energy, new ideas. Maybe they're going to be great. There's always a chance they won't be great, but I'm going to say they're going to be great because it's me and Chris. But it's going to be great. I think just bringing some different ideas to the table can help out, even with the budget. I mean, with the budget especially.
So it's a 7-member council now. There's guaranteed to be 1 new member and possibly up to 3 new members. So
Right.
you're going to have some sort of a different makeup on the
Absolutely.
council. And I assume every cycle that comes through, the way that body functions probably changes and revolves around the new faces.
Yeah, and Aaron's alluded to the learning curve, and what a great council person Aaron is. I mean, he learned. He's not a beginner anymore, even though he thinks he is. He's very veteran. He's very seasoned, and I bounce more off him than he bounces off me right now.
And that could just be different ideas. You had
Absolutely.
somebody new come in and he had different ideas than maybe you hadn't thought about.
Yep.
I think that's important, even if it's just one new council member coming in.
So let's talk about an issue that was very, very big in the summer, and that was dealing with the Castle Theater and possibly the city getting involved at one level or another with the ownership of that. And it sounds like that building has been purchased or is in the process of being purchased by a private individual.
Currently pending, yes.
So I guess I want to hear from each of you your views on what the next 5 years looks like, the next 10 years looks like for the city and owning buildings and owning, especially downtown, owning structures downtown. We can start with you, Lisa, if you want to jump off, or if you want to defer to Mark, that's fine too. You fielder's choice. As the World Series is
Oh,
happening.
yeah, right.
I support what the city's done. Everybody's done a great job, but I'm not for the city buying buildings. I wonder if the city keeps buying all the buildings, who's doing the upkeep on them? Who's paying for the upkeep? That's going to come out of the budget. Who's paying, and also if we get businesses in, as much as I would like to do away with taxes, we still do have to have taxes. Like I said last night, I know that. But, if we get businesses in, they're going to be paying taxes back to the city, which is just going to help the budget. That's what it's going to do. So also, I don't know how much the city owns, but if there's things out there that they can sell, that's going to bring money back into the budget too. So I'm not for the city buying more buildings. I'm happy with everything that's been done so far, but I think that the city should not be in the business of buying.
And that was a discussion that we had with Chris and Jerry whenever their show was happening. We specifically talked about the armory, and Chris had seen it in the budget as it doesn't bring in any money, but it costs $100,000 to keep open.
Between the armory, the senior citizen, and I think City Hall, we're budgeted for $100,000, and then we're also budgeted for $5,000 for a staffer of the armory. So, and then in the estimated revenue side, there's no line item that states where any kind of money is from that venture.
So that's kind of goes along with the issue that you were talking about. Mark, what were your feelings, first of all, whenever you heard the mayor talking about, or you saw his quote in the paper that he put in an offer? He said that the city of Newcastle put an offer in on the castle.
Yeah, we did, and no, I don't want the city to buy the Castle Theater, and I don't think anybody on council does.
Yeah, it's been
But when Mayor Small was in during my second year, he bought the armory for $1 without bringing it to council. And we were stuck, and I use the word stuck, with a building the size of the armory. What do you do with it? He did nothing with it. We paid utilities on that for the next 2 years of, trying to keep the electric on, trying to keep some heat in it, and, so it doesn't
decay and fall apart, right?
So, Mayor York made the decision to solicit to the food and beverage. He got that. He got $500,000 from food and beverage to make upgrades to the armory. And he pretty much oversaw all that himself. All the upgrades from heating and cooling to new floor, chairs. I mean, the place is great now. It's a great community.
It's a functioning community.
It is. And it does draw revenue. We do have revenue brought in for the armory. It's not huge. It does probably pay the electric and gas bill, but that's probably it. We do have Mike Burgum now, who is, through the parks, and he does oversee a lot that goes on at the armory. So he is paid out of that fund too. But, it took another administration to move the armory forward. And, thank goodness we had the food and beverage money. I know you hear it all the time. You see it all the time. That tax was put on for
the Hall of Fame in 1988, right?
And it's never going to be taken off. But look at what good that food and beverage does every single year.
It's just like we were talking with the water treatment and infrastructure.
Exactly.
There's always something else that needs to be worked on, right?
And there's always going to be. And the food and beverage tax, every community has it almost. And I mean,
you got to kiss the ring of the state. Rushville doesn't have one.
Oh,
they've tried.
Well,
they've tried.
Too many farmers. But how many restaurants you have in Rushville? 5?
Oh man!
Don't do mezcal like that.
It's a great place.
Mezcal, El Reparo, Stags. There's lots of good restaurants in Rushville.
But it's
Don't pick
Little
on my
Caesars, the top of the line.
right.
Pizza Hut. There's a Pizza King. The mayor's family has a Pizza King down there. There's lots in the Elks Club. There's lots of good restaurants. I've been to a lot of places. Twisted Sister, the bar down there. I think. Anyway.
Does Kevin Green still?
Kevin lives in Rushville.
Okay.
He's employed at the Greensburg paper.
Greensburg paper.
But yeah, he's a Rushville guy.
Okay, I thought
absolutely.
So. Yeah.
He DJs down there though. You can catch him.
Absolutely.
Mess with the turntables.
Gotcha.
So
the Elks Club.
5-10 years from now, do you think the armory still should be the city's?
Oh, absolutely. It's never going to leave us. It's ours. We got it. We got the hand we were dealt. And again, I think Mayor York's done a great job with what we've got and what we have and where we're at. I mean, my daughter had her wedding reception there last December. It was absolutely beautiful. Great venue. Yeah, it needs some upgrades. I mean, we made it, as much as ADA accessible as we could. But yeah, the bathrooms still need to be redone, things like that. But there's a lot of mortar in that place.
Yeah.
So you've got that, the Mariana building downtown.
Yes.
The city has accumulated some of these.
Yep.
But you think that's it? That's the last of the city buildings you need to have?
We have the old REMC that we're in the process now of we're going to put our police department down there, which they'll be behind a fence, which what they need to be behind. To keep their vehicles in, they can pull them in the garages down there during the winter to get the snow off, get the ice off. Our emergency service ambulances will be down there right on Broad.
Emergency services building.
I mean, they're already using it as a educational center down there right now. I know Josh is doing a lot. Josh Russell's doing a lot down there with that. So the REMC facility was not. Nobody was going to buy that. You could not market that for somebody to buy. It just made sense for us.
Well, sure, because we have monopolies and you can't just start a power company because they won't let you.
Right, they won't. But, it's going to work out well. It's taking our time. We're taking our time. We don't have a huge budget. We're using funds from here and there to try to remodel the place. The mayor's trying to, cut corners as much as he can to, make it workable down there.
So let's get to the other big issue. Lisa, you said earlier that you are in support of everything that's been going on downtown.
For the most part.
For the most part.
Yeah,
You
for the most
support
part, not everything.
I guess I should rephrase that. You support the direction that the downtown is heading towards, right?
Yes.
As far as it's looking much nicer.
It is.
1400 Plaza. As much as we've had qualms with some of the dealings with it,
I just want to be able to check out the
great.
bathrooms because every time I've tried, the damn things have been locked,
Right.
and it's just sad.
it really has turned out to look very good. It
looks nice.
Really nice. My biggest thing with it, I want to talk to you guys about is, do you support the way that has all happened, the way that it's gone? Mark, is there anything that you would have changed in previous votes regarding the beautification of downtown? And we'll start with Lisa. Lisa, would you continue to support public development of the downtown area to try to just make it nicer, keep it going?
Yeah, I mean, I want our downtown to look nice, and it's coming along. That's a hard question because, of course, of course you want it. I can't say no. I don't want nothing to happen. There might be other ways that we could fund that. Maybe not just from the budget. Maybe there could be other talk going on with it.
Other private investors or private folks that want to chip in and work towards a downtown beautification.
Right. Our downtown is looking great, and I am for it to keep looking great, but more private investors would be good.
What do you think, Mark?
1400 Plaza is awesome. I mean, did we want to see the buildings gone? No. But, you have some great investors downtown right now that are trying to rehab buildings or setting in one.
Right.
What Mike and Scott and guys and families like them are doing is just wonderful. But when you start using TIF money, that's out of council control. So that goes to RDC. Yes, I don't sit on RDC. I have Sandy Bertram that sits on RDC for the city council.
That's an appointment you get to make.
It's an appointment I make. I either sit on it or make the appointment. They deal with a lot of TIF money. RDC does. But it's a great board. It's a great organization. They do a lot of good. I mean, I sit in a lot of RDC meetings where, Aaron Dickin and Corey Murphy argued for more green space out loud a lot. And that's why, the mayor made the comment last council meeting that with Aaron Dickin and Corey Murphy stand up, and there are 2 mowers down at the new plaza next spring.
Yeah, what happens with that grass gets over 8 inches?
Well, they won't, because Corey and Aaron's going to take care of it. But, what a great corner. And I read a thing on Facebook today. I can't remember whose page it was on, but it had something to do with Richmond of somebody that's running for council that said Newcastle, I don't know, couldn't compete with what Richmond's doing or downtown. And probably 15 people responded back from Richmond area that said they drive through Newcastle and what progress they're making downtown. And I know there's more to Newcastle than downtown, and I hear that all the time, and you would too if you get on council, is don't worry about downtown. There's other parts of Newcastle you need to worry about. And that's just it. Sometimes we get too focused, on a 3 or 4 block radius that, we forget about. You're never going to forget about State Road 3, but, you forget about your 14th and Q, or Jack's Donuts and Dairy Queen and Top Hat 2 and, the Newcastle Triangle, not the Bermuda, but the Newcastle Triangle.
That's not a, that's not a problem that is specific to Newcastle.
No,
that happens
it's
everywhere.
not.
Well, and I will say, one thing we have over Richmond is at least our downtown doesn't smell like dog food.
Okay. I haven't been there in a while. So.
Those Eagletonians. So
I was just there. I kind of like ours. Ours is better.
There has been a lot of progress as well this year with street paving. The main streets in town, the busiest roads in town, have actually seen some. Well, we got some paving dollars.
We finally got the community crossing grant. And I say finally. We missed out the year before, and we set that money back. When I say we, the city, and that's part of the finance committee, and the whole council is, trying to match that. And that's things that we try to foresee. We don't know when a grant like that's going to come up, but you can't let something like that pass you by.
Right.
And you can see it of how it didn't pass us by. And I'll tell you, an unsung hero in this city is Dave Barker. I mean, he knows everything that's going on around our city, and he saves so much money on these infrastructure projects that people don't know. They don't. hundreds of thousands of dollars on projects with him, with his construction knowledge of what he saves us. He knows what something's supposed to cost. And it's great to have somebody like that with his construction background of going to bat for us.
Is that how our bathroom on 1400 Plaza dropped by 300%?
Absolutely. And that was, I know the mayor talked about that quite a bit at meetings, but that's something that with him being in the construction business, he knew what it would cost or what it should cost.
Right. All of a sudden, it went from $250,000 to $50,000.
Right. 40. It's 40 something. So I don't know what. But don't say 50.
So some of the other city services that are provided, that we talk about that are the mundane sides of what you have to do, but plowing streets, picking up trash. Lisa, are there any changes that you think need to be made there? Or, looking at, I know large trash is a big conversation. The trash toters have been something that people have been talking about for ages.
Down, and I think it was 18th Street, and there were like 4 giant mattresses sitting on the sidewalk.
It might be large trash day.
I was like, man, no, large trash day was not until next week. I don't think. I think that was. Isn't that right?
They usually pick it up every week.
It's an every week thing now.
Yeah, they'll.
I thought that changed.
The mayor doesn't like that, but that's the way it's still going.
Yeah,
okay.
I believe they pick it up the same day that you regular trash.
I thought it was
up.
a compromise. I thought there was a compromise of once a month, the first trash week.
We talked about a few things, and I've talked about trash more on the city council than I've talked about anything. But getting back to that, a user fee back in 2010 was our trash fee. Again, through budget cuts. When that was proposed to council, that came at $42 a month. In 2010 is what was proposed to the council from administration, from the state telling them, from Umball or Baker Tilly or whoever was informing us at the time, came to $42. And I'm like, for trash.
Additional trash fee of $42 a month.
Right. That we pay $12 now for. It came to us as council at $42. So, we're talking, we're emailing, we're texting back and forth. What's a workable number? And it got down to, 28, got down to 24. And we're like, no. So we got to 16 and we did the numbers. And we're like, no, we can make it work for less. $12 in 2010. So we're going on 10 years of never raising our trash fee. That's amazing. When you get down and think about us, your trash fee in White Estates, I guarantee will go up in 10 years.
I've been in my house for 6 years. My trash fee has not changed.
Okay,
I pay $56 a month $56 every 3 months.
Okay.
Yep. For my trash.
Okay.
And that's the conversation I want to hear from Lisa and from you about, I know that some cities contract with their trash privately. Some have their own equipment and do it all themselves. Some of them say, hey, it's free for all. You guys pick what you want. So that's why I wanted to hear your ideas on that issue.
And that was talked about 10 years ago also was, hey, do we privatize? Well, if we privatize, there's 12 people out of a job. I mean, that have worked their hearts into it, their butts off, and put their souls into Newcastle. Why privatize it when they do just as good a job and can do probably a better job? And plus we have
12 people that Big B would probably need to pick up the extra area.
Well, exactly. But I mean, it's things that we talked about 10 years ago.
Yeah.
And they're still talked about today. Our toters.
Has it been talked about recently with privatizing the trash?
No.
What do you think, Lisa? Do you think do you like the trash the way it is? Do you think that we have a good working system? Don't fix it if it ain't broke, or do you think privatizing it would be a better direction?
After listening to the podcast last week, I had to ask Tony, have we ever had any problems with our trash? Because I'm like, everybody talks about their toters. He's like, I don't know. I've never asked for another one. He's like, we have a broken lid, but it still works.
So do I.
We don't. He's like, I never asked for one. I think it would be good it's good that we haven't raised raised it in 10 years. That's an amazing thing. And you do have people that work there. But as with everything, I think it would be nice to have for the people to have an option. I mean, most people would probably choose to keep it this way. But if we privatized it and we could save money, then that would, for the citizens, then that would be good too.
There's almost like three different ways you could look at it. You could say, okay, everybody gets trash service, and it's going to be, you could have a private company that does it, and no matter who you are, you're going to get a trash toter, and it's going to be picked up, and it's included, right? That could be an option. Or you could say, we're not providing it at all, and you guys have to do it. But then the risk that you have, and I'm sure this is what Mark's going to tell us, is, well, what about the guy that's not going to pay for his trash and it's going to sit out there on the street, right? And it's going to be a public health issue.
And that's our fear.
And that's the concern that you have, is it's going to pile up. Some people are going to take care of it, and it's going to be fine. Because my neighborhood, white estates, reasonable homes that everybody gets their trash picked up, and we have 3 different trash companies that pick up trash over there. But there are concerns that there are some folks that just say, the hell with it, I'm going to burn my trash, I'm not going to do anything with my trash, or whatever is going to happen. So I think that's why these elections are important, so that you have these conversations out loud and in public, so that people can hear the ideas. And then, hey, if we decide, you know what, yeah, we really like having city trash service, but man, we kind of need to get new cans or upgrade them, and maybe we need some new lids, and maybe we need to say, hey, it does need to go to $16 a month. But this is the time that I feel like some of these issues should be happening in the community, having those conversations.
We've talked about, and I think we're not too far away, is instituting what we call a toter fee, a very small amount. But that money would go directly towards buying toters for when Lisa calls in and says, hey, my lid's broke. I have raccoons getting my trash. Okay, yeah, what's your address? We'll send you a new toter out. They have one. They
have them on hand. So that, like whenever I had an issue with the wheel flying off of mine from Big B, whenever I called them and said I need a new trash toter, and then the next week when they picked up my trash, they had one.
Absolutely.
And they replaced it.
And that's the way it should be.
Right.
It's a service.
For the record, if I wanted to go on Amazon.com and buy my own damn trash toter right now,
it's $96.
I could buy one. I could buy a Rubbermaid commercial 50-gallon for $90.
Okay, no, I said 96. Pretty close.
I could get a Plastipiece for
that looks
31.
Exactly like the ones that Big B has, and they're 112.
112 for a 64-gallon. So
I mean,
but the wheels fall off of those. So
right.
So my parents have a toter, and it looks brand new. And it's been there 10 years.
So it depends on how rough you are.
They use it every week. So, I mean.
Yeah, they take it inside. They wash it and they wax it.
I mean, we have a broken lid, but it's not that big of a deal. It still fits on there. That was a shock to me that people have had so many problems with their toters. I was like, what?
I don't know. It's an interesting conversation, but these are the issues you have to look forward to if you're a council person. Because I've attended enough city council meetings over the years, just sitting there and there was something interesting we wanted to see, or I was involved in and attended. That's the real stuff people care about.
Yeah.
Exactly. Are the roads plowed? Is the trash picked up?
And the cemetery nice?
And the cemetery nice.
Make sure the cemetery is mowed before the major holidays, right?
And that comes from the Kentuckyisms that we.
Because everybody in this damn town except for me is from Albany, Kentucky. I've got New York roots, but everybody else is from Albany, Kentucky.
I'm not from Kentucky.
Yeah, we are. I'm proud of it.
Kentucky is my favorite customer base. I love the folks in Kentucky. I am a big fan. They build a lot of bridges down there.
That's where Tony lives at now, so I got to be nice to Kentucky too, right?
I think we've beat these two up enough. You told me whenever I was writing the show notes you wanted to talk about Middletown elections because you know this is.
I went down.
We're not
going
to have a show until we're not going to have a show between now and the election.
I have learned some stuff in the last couple days.
I thought you knew everything.
This is how I learn, Lisa, is I get curious and I start digging. And in Indiana, small towns are like the wild, wild west of elections. I didn't know this. I knew a little bit of this because I knew that Spiceland accidentally forgot to have an election a few years ago. And they said, oops, yep, we screwed up. Should have an election. Oh, well, everybody keeps their job and you're just good for another 4 years. They checked with the state and they think it's fine. So that's what happened when Spiceland forgot their election. So this time, Middletown's having an election.
That's how Darren Jacobs has a job.
And that's how Darren just gets reelected. No big deal. Because you don't have to see the voters. It's great. He actually ran for county council when he should have been running for town board in Spiceland, but nobody remembered. So he got to run for county council 6 years ago. So,
And he was chairman.
and he was the Democrat chairman. Yeah. Yeah. It's an honest mistake. So I noticed in the Courier Times that I saw candidate surveys were in the paper for the Middletown election. I said, well, we cover elections in this county, in this community. If Middletown's having a big election, I want to look at it. So I jumped on Indiana Voters website and I, click, Fall Creek Township, ballot, nobody on the ballot. I looked inside and outside of the school districts. I looked at all of the townships in Fall Creek. I'm like, there's not a damn person on the ballot. Okay. Must be like Newcastle in uncontested races. They canceled the election, but they took the surveys. They've filled them out. They're going to be there. No big deal. And then I'm like, okay, well, that's interesting that's out there, but maybe that's what happened. And then I saw that the county election board had decided we're going to have polling places. We're going to have 3 polling places in Newcastle. We're going to have 1 in Knightstown. We're going to have 1 in Kennard. Well, if Middletown is in fact having an election, why the hell do they have to drive to Newcastle or Kennard to go to their closest polling place? That was weird. Made no sense to me. Then last night we go to the voter election deal and, there's a program and it says there are 3 at-large spots, 4 people running for the town board in Middletown. I'm like, well, this is really interesting. I double check again. It says, yep, you can't vote in Middletown. What the hell are they doing? How are they voting in Middletown? Turns out Middletown is conducting their own election. Their town has, I guess, the state allows for a town election board.
Yes. A town can establish their own election board if they decide to hold their own elections separate from help from the county election office.
So I'm
It's all very
educating myself at this
confusing.
point because I'm like, okay, well, I checked with my friend Betsy Mills. She's been on the show a number of times, contributor, but she's running for the at county council at large. I know she's from Middletown. She's really plugged in, and she's like, yeah, that's really weird. She checked with the Republican chairperson, and he had no idea. He was not aware. I messaged Steve Thompson, the township trustee in Fall Creek Township. And Steve told me today that it's handled by Steve Holmes, the clerk treasurer of the town. It's been done this way in the past. And I said, okay, well, how does this work? Like equipment, like voting equipment, do they borrow stuff? And he says it's paper ballots. So I'm legitimately interested to see how this works. And I don't know, I'm a little concerned about the controls side, but my curiosity is tweaked. How much money is it costing? How does that work? And I don't know if small towns do this all over the place or not. I know in Shirley, we've had people get elected from the Libertarian Party that never come before. If your town's like 2,000 people or below, basically you don't have to talk to anybody. You write your name down, you file it, and you're on the ballot. And you could say you're from the Potato Head Party. It doesn't matter. They just write it down and it goes and it's on there. And you don't have to get authorized by a county party, a state party, a national party. None of that happens. So small town elections in Indiana, very, very interesting.
If you live in the town of Middletown and you're hearing this for the very first time and you're wondering, well, who are the 4 people running for the at-large town council seats? Those folks are Steve Ahern. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. He is a Republican.
It was good enough for Mike Ahern at Wish TV, so I assume it's good enough for Steve.
Steve Ahern, Republican. Gary Kendall, a Republican. Jake Smith, a Democrat. And then we have 1 independent. His name is Dave Wagner. So those are your folks that you can vote for. I don't know anything about any of these people because I haven't been following it because I didn't even know they were having an election.
So Steve owns the Fred Shack, which is the local liquor establishment.
I see Gary being very active on social media. So that's the only reason I know his name. The other 2 folks, I don't know.
I went to the town council's website today because I'm like, okay, so they have a town council board, not the election board, not the official precinct committee people, but there should be some sort of a board. I looked at the state handbook on town elections and it says there should be a board. I couldn't figure out who was on the board. I couldn't figure out when they were appointed. They're supposed to have open door laws and rules and all of this stuff that's there. But I'm genuinely just interested now at this point to see how this works. But their website did say that they are having an election, and basically you show up between 6 and 6 at the town hall in the back room, and there will be a backroom election, I guess. So. That's
Or you write it down on a piece of paper.
That's what we know. And I don't know if they're like doing Post-it notes or if they have I genuinely don't know. It's a pick, it's a pick 3. So you're going to have a ballot that has 4 names.
There's a lady in the back that's cutting the ballots by scissors.
I don't know if they have, have one of these machines that's going to say you made a mistake if you didn't vote straight ticket Republican or Democrat. And if poor Dave Wagner is going to get hosed by the straight ticket voting. I don't know how this works.
All I can
I'm
say
curious.
is if it's going to be like how Newcastle is, and I think so between Knightstown, Kinnerton, all of the 3 wards in Newcastle, I think I told Jerry last night that I'm pretty sure only 30 people have voted.
Had 30 people early vote
And
so far in the city.
And I can count 10 of them as candidates or candidates fans.
What if Middletown beats us in the amount of voters they have turnout?
It's possible.
I'm going to be really interested in that. That next week, you guys have to do that.
In the
Figure out.
1972 South Carolina election for governor, 102% of the state turned out to vote.
102%.
All right.
From the
Dead arose.
as from the KKK trying to overthrow the black Republican that was running. Yeah.
Well, thank you for this
There you go. History
episode of South
History from
Carolina
Dakota.
history.
I think I got the year right. Don't look it up.
All right. That's what I've got. It was an interesting thought, and I went down that rabbit hole. And Lisa, you said I know everything. That's how I learned that junk.
That's
is
how you know everything.
I look at it and I go, well, that's weird.
But now
and then you
never
just start
gonna
asking
forget.
questions.
And 20 years from now, you'll be like, in 2019 on October 20.
I probably
30th.
will remember. I will remember it now at this point. So we'll see. It's just that little. That's a little glimpse into the crazy mind of me. All right, Mr. Guffey. Final thoughts. We're wrapping up. By the way, the World Series Houston is leading 1-0
That is correct.
in Game 7.
2 things, very simple for me. First, I'll start with the more official announcement. Saturday, I will be walking. It was rescheduled from last Saturday, 8:30 here at 1102 Race Street here in Newcastle. If you want to meet, I'll bring donuts and we can have fun walking, talking, be jovial about it. Because it might be a little cold, guys.
It's going to be great. It's November.
I'm going to be walking fast.
Number 2, the less serious, for some people, at I believe it was the 3rd or 4th game in the World Series, there was 2 models behind home plate that straight up flashed everybody.
Julia Rose.
Yes, Julia Rose.
There were
one.
3 models. Only 2 of them made the
flashing
program.
room. And as we discussed
They were very talented young ladies.
As we discussed in the chat, that's probably the first time some 8-year-olds have seen some boobies.
And now they are baseball fans.
And they're
Dad,
banned for life.
And they got
They got banned for life.
they got a letter. Because the women were not shy about taking credit for their work. And they were from verified Twitter accounts. I didn't know who they were, but later, upon further investigation,
And they
because
were
sometimes I
models.
get curious about these things. It was basically a publicity
Especially
stunt
when
for
there's
them.
boobies.
They had purchased tickets that were right there where the Marlins guy sits all the time in the shot. So when you're looking from the pitcher back to home plate, these girls were there,
There
and
they are.
they did their thing, and they got Twitter famous. And probably by midnight, they had a letter from Major League Baseball explaining that they were never allowed back.
I don't
to
even
a
think it
Major
took
League
them that
Baseball
long.
game again.
You can't police that though.
By
Oh,
name.
Wow.
Be hard.
Yeah, it's but everybody got their press. Baseball got to publicly condemn it, and the girls got famous.
I read somewhere that it was to raise awareness for breast cancer, which makes me wonder what we're supposed to do to raise money for prostate cancer.
Oh, no. Does that have its own month? When is that? What sports are
November.
going on then? November?
Yeah,
All right. So it's football.
I guess.
that's true.
Any,
You have any
anything else
football
from you,
tickets?
producer Chris?
That's all I got. That's all I got.
Mark?
Nothing. Thank you for the invite. Chris, thank you.
No problem, sir.
You guys, Lisa, best of luck. Again, it's about candidates. It's about competition. It's about giving the voters a choice.
Right.
And, Dakota, funds with me about running against me. I would have wanted nothing more than Dakota.
Well, all of Newcastle suffered when Dakota moved to Spiceland.
Exactly. And,
Yep.
It's, – I think, in all honesty, and I think Chris will attest to this, that him and Jerry have become friends through this. And
it's disgusting, really.
But, you know, but in all honesty, Chris has opened council's eyes on a couple of things, issues. And that's what it's about, bringing an issue.
Right.
Just because somebody's been on for 11 or 12 years or, you know, a mayor's set for 8 doesn't mean that they cannot learn something. Everybody can learn something from somebody.
And as you have new generations come along, like Aaron or Chris or others, they're plugged into, and what Lisa's talked about, they're plugged into other communities, and now you're starting to hear a voice from other people that may not be represented in the conversation yet.
And younger people that are in tune, that know what's going on, they know the issues, and there's nobody better than Dakota, Jeremiah, and Chris to do that. I mean, that's why I'm here. It's not because they're libertarians and I'm a Democrat. I care less. I mean, these are good guys. They're bringing stuff to our community that needs to be talked about, and we appreciate it.
Well, we appreciate you joining us. All right, Lisa, what do you got for us? How do we follow you? Social media, all that stuff, and what events you got going on? You're looking for walkers.
Yeah, you know, looking for walkers. If anybody wants to help me this weekend, just give me a shout out. I don't know exactly what time, so we'll make a time with anybody else.
Hit her on the DMs and work it out.
You can Lisa Catron for City Council on Facebook. If you just want to find me, myself, it's just Lisa Jo Catron, Crosby Catron. All them other names.
We'll have you tagged on the Facebook page. So if you go to the Boss Hog Facebook page, you can track Lisa down over there.
I'm excited to be running. Once again, I'm impressed with our council. I don't have anything bad I want to say about anybody. I mean, everybody's done a great job. I just would like to get a chance to get in there and grow with the city and have more people know what's going on. I do want to give a shout out to my son so everybody can follow him, because Alec is Walking America. If you're on my Facebook or Instagram, I'm sure you've seen me post about my son. He's, went to Hawaii twice this year, backpacked. And then he started in Key West, and he's
working north.
He's in Texas.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, no, he's in Texas. He's working to.
You have to work north from Key West, and then you hung left.
Yeah, he worked. Yeah, he hung left. But if you want to follow him on Instagram, it's __ Alexander, ALECZANDER, and then the _ again.
Very
I just
cool.
like to.
So is he going to get the Pacific? How far is he going to go?
His ultimate goal is to go to Alaska. He's not sure yet if he's going to walk across Canada or fly from Washington State, but that's his ultimate goal.
Why not swim?
Yeah, I should tell him that because it'd be cool.
Does he have his passport yet? Is he ready?
No, he doesn't have his passport, but he's got probably another year before he even gets that far.
Before he walks that far.
I mean, he's got to winterize somewhere. I think he's going to do it in San Antonio right now. It's amazing how nice people are. I don't know if you guys follow him on Instagram, but
yeah, I do.
I follow him, but I'm never on there.
Yeah, it's amazing how nice people are. He just spent like 3 days with some people in Texas that he just met, which scares me to death. But they were really good people.
But he's getting some life experiences.
He is getting some life experiences, and he's going to keep getting them. And he's actually got a stripper, a midget stripper.
I saw that one.
I know that's so funny, but she's like.
She go to baseball games?
She's like a really big deal, like she travels all over the U.S. to these different clubs.
She's the one that goes to Fort Wayne all the time.
Oh, yeah.
Does she wrestle?
No, I don't think she does. She might up on this. But
Rex probably knows her.
But she's like a big deal, and she's wanting to sponsor him. So they're going to meet up in San Antonio, and she's got she's buying him all these T-shirts with her name, and she's going to sponsor him on her site, on her Twitter, and he's going to do it for her.
All I'm saying is, if this city council race doesn't work out, I can walk long distance.
You're just gonna go all Forrest Gump.
Yeah, go with Alec. He's probably made more money than I have in the past few months, and he doesn't even beg for it. So it's crazy. People are nice, but yeah, look him up on Instagram.
Well, very good. Thank you, Lisa, for being with us tonight and running. If it wasn't for you and Chris, there may not have been a city election at all this year. There were no contested races, and then Mike Guffey got in the race late. So literally, these issues that we've talked about over the last few episodes of Boss Hog here, if you guys weren't running, there'd be no conversation. Just be a quiet march into the holidays.
That's true.
So, all right, Dakota, D Square.
Hey, Chris.
Is this where you're going to shame me again?
Remember what I talked about last week?
Hey, I see you.
There's 2 days left of this week.
I'll tell you what. I'll be there in the morning, 5:15.
I don't know if I'll be there in the morning. I've hit it hard all 3 days this week.
Can't you two just share a gym membership and not because you don't go at the same time at this point?
I've been going faithfully. I always take 1 day off every week, and it's always the day after the podcast because I don't get to sleep until like 10 o'clock. So I will be there tomorrow.
Look at him. He's looking so fit.
I'll be there Friday.
He's looking so fit.
I've lost a couple of inches.
Look at you.
I will not be there
on my
Friday
waist.
because I'm staying the night with Paige
But I've gained 2
Anderson.
pounds.
Muscling up. All right. Well, this has been fun. Tomorrow's Halloween. I got all freaked out on the on Twitter, on Facebook today because Newcastle canceled their trick or treating, and then I realized that was Newcastle, Pennsylvania.
Oh.
So I understand trick or treating is happening. So I will be turning the lights off at my house tomorrow and going down to Rush County and doing some stuff with the Newcastle, Wyoming FFA and a chapter from Arizona. They're in the state with the FFA National Convention, and my family, my sister is hosting them. They're touring like 3 different ag spots in Rush County, and then they're hosting a big dinner. And I have family members from both of those FFA chapters, so that's
awesome.
going to be kind of cool. I'm going to see my cousins' kids, my much older cousins who have these the teenage kids who are probably way more successful than me already. FFA kids are just incredible. They're at a level you've just unbelievable.
FFA kid at one time.
And look at you now.
I did soil judging.
Did soil judging?
Oh yeah. I liked the soil judging because I got to carry a pocket knife. Mr. Dan Webb took me around.
Big fan of Dan. I have a lot of fun with Dan. I think he's moved. He moved to Indianapolis on us now.
Oh.
Anyway, that's my story. I think we're gonna have a show on Thursday. We haven't talked about it amongst ourselves, but I'm pretty sure Thursday of next week, following the election. The election's Tuesday.
Tomorrow.
Not tomorrow. No, no. Tomorrow.
This is the first I'm hearing of this.
Tomorrow's trick or treating. So a week from tomorrow is the next one. So with that, we thank everybody very much, and go Expos.
Thank you for listening to the Boss Hog of Liberty, which is part of the We Are Libertarians Network. I am Chris Spangle, and I am the founder of this network, and I invite you to listen to all of our shows, which you can find at WeAreLibertarians.com or by searching for these in your podcatcher. The flagship show is the We Are Libertarians podcast, where we apply libertarian principles to current events. The Brian Nichols Show is a conversation amongst Republicans, Democrats, Libertarians, Independents, as they talk about what is happening in the news. And we have many other podcasts like The Chris Spangle Show, Upward, The Cost, Raw Audio Politics, Miranda's World, and Tad Talk, which is quite a ride. So check all of these out. Go to WeAreLibertarians.com and you can check out all of our great podcasts. Thanks for listening. Thank you for listening to the We Are Libertarians Network. Get our other shows at WeAreLibertarians.com.